Hello, welcome back to our channel. I'm following the current rhythm of Beyond the Gates very closely, and one question keeps getting louder. Is Bill starting to suspect Lynette? Could that suspicion be connected to Cott's warning? Why did Bill go to Joey and ask him to investigate Lynette? How much does Joey really know, and why hasn't he told Bill everything? Let's take a closer look at Fairmont Crest. The most dangerous collapses never begin with a loud explosion. They begin with something so small that, at first glance, it hardly seems worth noticing at all, like a hotel charge entered at the wrong time, a bill appearing under the wrong name, or a phone call made in the middle of the night and abruptly cut off the moment the person on the other end starts asking questions that are just a little too precise. Bill understands that better than anyone. He is the kind of man who never believes a crisis comes out of nowhere. Behind every eruption of chaos, there is always a guiding hand. Behind every evasive answer, there is always a fear trying to save itself. That is why, when Bill called the hotel to request a full review of every charge connected to Lynette, it was not simply a financial check. It was the moment his instincts spoke up. Something in Hayley's earlier explanations had suddenly started to feel unsteady, shifted out of place like a loosened brick in what he once believed was the solid wall of their marriage. What unsettles Bill is not the money itself. He is not the kind of man who becomes agitated simply because funds were spent in the wrong place. What chills him is that the logic no longer fits. A person can lie about feelings, can conceal a meeting, can deny a name, but it is far harder to lie perfectly about the ordinary traces of life they never expected anyone to notice. Those charges could point to room service ordered at the exact hour Hayley claimed she was somewhere else. They could show a recipient's name that does not match the story she once told him. They could reveal a chain of payments suggesting that Lynette did not stumble into their lives by accident at all, but was cultivated as part of a plan that had been growing for much longer, much more steadily, and much more recklessly than anyone realized. A single crack like that is enough for Bill to revisit every old conversation with Hayley through a different lens. Once trust begins to retreat, memory changes shape with it. What once seemed accidental becomes suspicious. What was once forgiven begins to look like evidence. The most frightening part is that Bill does not slam his hand on the table or expose everything immediately. He steps back instead, quieter, colder, and that is the most dangerous version of Bill. When a powerful man stops raging out loud, it often means he has started calculating. That is why Bill turning to Joey is not simply a request for help. It is a strategic move. He needs someone who knows how to enter the dark places he cannot openly walk into himself. He needs information about Lynette, but more deeply than that, he needs to know who the road to Lynette leads to first. If Lynette is only a polished white-collar scammer, the matter can still be handled through the cold machinery of money and law. But if what she is involved in goes beyond financial deception, if there is a larger network behind her that uses people, relationships, and fear itself to control others, then Bill knows he is no longer facing a humiliating family scandal. He is touching something far dirtier. His remark about possibly needing to call an exterminator sounds, on the surface, like a growl threat made in anger, but it is the calm way he says it that gives the line its weight. It shows that Bill no longer sees this as an embarrassing problem to cover up. He has begun thinking like a man prepared to cut disease out of his life, even if the price is crossing his own moral line. But if Bill is the one following the trail, then Joey is the one standing in the middle of those clues and deliberately refusing to assemble them into a complete picture. That is what makes Joey the most frightening figure in this story. The most dangerous person is not the one who lies the best, but the one who knows the truth and releases it in fragments, just enough to keep everyone else awake at night. When Hayley appears and Joey informs her that Bill has asked him to investigate Lynette, the air between them is no longer the air of a simple conversation. It becomes a psychological test. Joey does not say everything. He says only enough. He reveals that he knows Lynette was not acting alone. He draws a direct line between Lynette, Hayley, and Randy. He watches Hayley's reaction as she pretends not to understand what he means. Someone who is truly innocent would likely respond with outrage, denial, and a demand to know why they are being suspected. But someone carrying a secret rarely reacts with pure anger. They react with defenses that rise too quickly, with surprise that feels too rehearsed, or with a hesitation so brief that only someone like Joey would notice it. Why does Joey not tell Bill everything? That question is the heart of the entire storm. If Joey were truly on Bill's side, he would have handed over everything he knew from the start. If Joey truly wanted to save Hayley, he would have offered her a clearer exit instead of throwing her a warning wrapped in shadows. That means Joey's goal is not loyalty. He wants something larger. Perhaps he wants to keep Hayley afraid so she will expose the rest herself. Perhaps he wants Bill to remain suspicious enough to keep the investigation moving, but not explosive enough to destroy it too soon. Because an early detonation would scatter the deeper links he still wants to trace. Or perhaps Joey is playing a game of his own, one in which Bill, Hayley, Randy, and even Lynette are only pieces serving a private agenda none of them can yet see. That is why Joey's warning to Hayley should not be read as protection. It feels more like a thin blade held near her throat. He almost tells her that her luck is running out. He does not accuse her, and he does not rescue her. He simply creates a vacuum in which Hayley is forced to confront her greatest fear. The terrifying thing is not being exposed, but not knowing when the person holding your secret plans to act. This is the kind of power that breaks people faster than evidence ever could. A secret can still be denied. But a person who knows that secret and conceals their intentions can destroy someone's nerves piece by piece. Hayley now becomes the center of every pressure point. But she is also the most tragic figure, because she no longer has the right to fail in any ordinary way. If this were only financial fraud, she could still hope for excuses, for clever explanations, for the chance to blame circumstance. But if what she is hiding is darker than that, if Lynette is not merely an accomplice, but the one holding the key to Hayley's true past, then Hayley is no longer fighting to preserve appearances. She is fighting to keep a truth from destroying the position she worked so hard to build. A woman like Hayley would not fear losing money as much as she would fear losing her place. She would not fear judgment as much as she would fear being truly seen. That is why every lie surrounding her now is no longer just a cover for one mistake. Those lies are functioning like walls holding up an entire identity that is in danger of collapsing. Lynette, in this game, feels more like a shadow than the real target. On the surface, Bill is hunting her. Joey talks about her. Hayley trembles because of her. But the closer one looks, the clearer it becomes that Lynette may not be the ending point at all, but only the doorway. Someone like Lynette can easily be dismissed as greedy, opportunistic, and cunning enough to cling to others for profit. Yet that very judgment is where the sharpest twist often begins. Lynette may not be a pawn. She may be the first mind who realized that Hayley could be bound to her through secrecy, while Randy served merely as the bridge, the courier. The one who handled the dirty work that a woman like Hayley could not afford to touch directly. If that is true, then every act of blackmail from Lynette is not simply about demanding money. It is a reminder that she knows too much, and knows it in a way that could drag everyone down with her if she is cornered. That makes Randy the weakest link, but also the most explosive one. In plots like this, the person who ruins everything is rarely the most greedy. It is the person least capable of enduring pressure. Randy may remain loyal while everything stays under control, but loyalty bought through fear is always fragile. All it takes is Bill moving one step closer, Joey tightening the pressure one turn further, or Lynette beginning to suspect that Randy is trying to save himself. And the entire artificial alliance will begin to shake. A man like Randy does not need to betray everyone through one full confession. He only needs to hesitate at the wrong moment, leave half a sentence unfinished, or ask the wrong person for help, and the entire structure can collapse. That is also why Joey has placed Randy in such a crucial hot seat. If Hayley carries the biggest secret, Randy is the one most likely to let that secret fall. And then the most painful question begins to take shape. Is Bill truly trying to expose Lynette, or is the person he has suspected from the beginning actually Hayley? The most reasonable answer is probably both, but on two different levels. Lynette is the name Bill can investigate publicly without forcing himself to admit how rotten his marriage may already have become. Hayley, however, is the private fear he is not yet ready to name out loud. That explains why this investigation has such a divided emotional tone. Half of it is about gathering information, and half of it is about seeing just how panicked the woman beside him becomes when she feels the ground start to shake beneath her feet. Bill may not yet need the final proof to condemn Hayley. He may only need to watch how she reacts to the threat of truth. Men like Bill often believe that reaction tells the truth faster than confession ever will. So if Joey still has not chosen a side, then his real goal may not be to save Hayley or serve Bill. He may want control over both of them. Bill needs the truth, so he becomes dependent on the information Joey provides. Hayley needs time and a way out, so she is forced to look toward Joey as well, trying to guess how many exits remain open to her. A man who can keep both the hunter and the hunted dependent on him is never merely standing outside the story. He is building a new position of power out of their panic. That is the most dangerous kind of scheme in a soap world, not one that pushes people directly over the cliff, but one that simply stands at the edge and decides when to shine the light into their faces. This story, then, is not merely an investigation into Lynette, nor is it just a marital unmasking. It is the process by which masks begin to crack under the weight of suspicion. Bill is learning how to look at Hayley without the softening glass of desire and habit. Hayley is learning that every secret eventually becomes a blade turned back toward the one who kept it. Randy is moving closer to the moment when he will either betray everyone else or betray himself through cowardly silence. And Joey remains the figure at the edge of the board, never making a move to openly, yet forcing everyone else to breathe differently the moment he enters the room. If Bill takes one step further, the first person to collapse may not be Hayley. It may not even be Lynette. The first to break is often the one who still believes there is time to delay, time to maneuver, time to escape by saying just a little less. But in a game where too many people are all holding secrets about one another, no one is truly safe. In the end, what will shake Fairmont Crest is not a hotel bill or a threat muttered in anger. It will be the moment they all realize that, all this time, they were never standing on the same side the way they thought they were. And once that truth comes into the light, the most dangerous person will no longer be the one who lied the most, but the one patient enough to wait for everyone else to destroy themselves. Thank you for taking the time to watch my video, and thank you for your trust. All the content I create is purely speculation and personal sharing. If you find the video interesting and helpful, please support me with a like and a comment. If you have better ideas or more interesting speculations, please share them in the comments so everyone can discuss. I appreciate all your contributions and support. Thank you very much. If you haven't followed us yet, please scroll down and subscribe.